I'm a father of 4 daughters, massive petrol head.
I'm a father of 4 daughters as well, massive petrol head.
And I've, up until recently, had a lovely, naturally aspirated V12. And I've just swapped it for an Italian car, but today we are in a very special, naturally aspirated V12 Italian car, aren't we?
We're in a very special Lamborghini manual 6.2 Murcielago. But I think more special than that is my daughters are about 10 to 15 years older than yours, so I'm going to give you an insight into life in the future. It starts off with a Murcielago.
So it's good, right? Having 4 daughters is obviously the way forward.
Yeah. It's enrichment.
The way to live the dream. Right, come on. Shall we do this, shall we? My name's Ben, and welcome to DadCars. Oh, the sound of it.
This is a true Dad's Cars special. This is every dad's dream.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. You can take one daughter out at a time.
Here's the thing, right? Something that I've already realised is that having 4 children is actually really important, having one-on-one time with them. I don't know if you experienced that?
100%. I probably left it too late in terms of having that one-on-one time. We need petrol. Typical dad's car, need petrol. So we're going to first stop is Shell V-Power.
So you're telling me that this doesn't do really high miles per gallon?
No, of course it doesn't, no. But the one-on-one time is massive. And I think you might get caught in it as well, that like you refer to the girls as the girls and you as a collective.
Yeah.
But they're individuals as well, so you've got to have that one-on-one time and get to know them individually as well, and treat them individually, because ultimately they're very different characters, no matter how many similarities you find between them.
Oh my God. Honestly, here's the thing, right? The V12 that was in my DB9, amazing engine, lovely. I really enjoyed detailing that car around for 2 years, but a Lamborghini V12 is just another level, isn't it, of experience.
So for this, at the time, whenever the V12 comes out, the new car, it is the pinnacle of Lamborghini engineering of that time.
Yeah.
As it is with any new car, but you go from the Murcielago, this was the first iteration of the Murcielago, and then it evolved from there to the Murcielago SV, which is an absolute beast. But V12 is where it's at, naturally aspirated and manual box. Hashtag save the manual is so important that all my daughters, and I hope you retain this as one of my little nuggets, all my daughters will learn to drive shift.
Okay.
When they learn to drive, they're not driving automatic, they're not going to learn take the easy way, they're all going to learn how to drive a proper car.
All right, I'm going to commit to that as well.
There you go.
Yeah, so my daughters, all of mine will learn how to drive a manual car as well. So, and that's why these are so special, because obviously the Aventador, which you had one, incredible car as well.
Yeah,
but you couldn't get them in a manual, could you?
No, they came, and I thought I had the Aventador for just over a year. We'll talk about later about the fire, but that was flappy paddles, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And I had that on the Gallardo Spider that we had before that, flappy paddles. But manual is so much more rewarding as a driver, and that is just so analog, naturally aspirated. Whether it's the Gallardo or the Murcielago, phenomenal thing to drive, and yeah, absolutely love it. Just constantly have a smile on your face when you drive this.
And that's the one thing that, let's go past the speed camera. That's one thing that I think's actually been good, I believe, about EVs coming out, is that nobody's really bothered about that 0 to 60 thing anymore. You know, like, because the 0 to 60 game's over because of EVs. It's kind of won that game, hasn't it? And what people are realising is that experience cars like this, cars with real heart and soul and experience, and having the manual shifter just makes this, you know, the gated manual shifter.
Mate, if we were in a Tesla right now, you wouldn't have this soundtrack throughout this video. No, this natural symphony soundtrack. It's for me, it's like I normally wear headphones in this car. We've got the mics on, obviously, to pick us up nicely. But you wouldn't have that. It's a soulless experience in an EV.
I promise you, I'm not just saying this for the cameras, but when you first switched it on and when you first accelerated, even now, I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. And that is because of the whole experience of it. It's not, like I said earlier on as well, like a DB9 V12 is incredible, but this is just another whole experience. And I think they say the 0 to 60 in this is what, like 3.6 seconds, something like that. But it just, it's, honestly, I've been in cars that do 0 to 60 quicker than 3.6 seconds, quicker than 3 seconds, but the physical experience you get in this is just nothing like it, is there?
I've met people that don't feel comfortable in the car, do long journeys. I've done 2 hours at a time in this since I've had it. I feel comfortable. I felt comfortable in a Countach as well. I don't know, maybe I'm the right height, and recently lost a bit of weight, so that I just feel so comfortable in this car. It just feels natural.
Yeah.
And let's take it back to daughters. Like, ultimately, taking one out, like to go out for a drive in it, it's an amazing experience for them as well. And I'm lucky and fortunate enough, since when I was 32, I think we bought the Gallardo Spider, family car that we had for the business, and I'd regularly take my eldest out, my daughter number 2 out for a little ride, and I got so many amazing memories from the girls going out in the cars and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, anyone who's watched my channel for any length of time will know that I'm always talking about making memories with your children, and how that's also where personally I think you get the value for money out of owning a car like this. Because look, let's not kid ourselves, owning a car like this is a very expensive thing to buy, very expensive thing to own.
Absolutely.
But for me, the only time that you get value for money out of that is if you're using it to make memories. Like me personally, people who've got like a
petrol
and somebody who's got a crazy expensive rare car that they just keep tucked up in a garage, and they don't want to put any miles on it because they're worried about depreciating it, or they certainly wouldn't let their children in it with their sticky handprints, or making a mess of it, and it's their investment and they keep it there. To me, I just don't see the point in that. That's not something that interests me. But what you do, I mean, how many miles have you done in this already, and like using it with your children?
So yeah, I've probably done 2,000 miles in this since having it, and I've had it 3 months. It's not going to do a huge amount over the winter. It is going to go into supercar service for like a full health check and a few little bits that we want to do. So I want to keep on top of the maintenance on it. But everything you just said, everything I do, whether it's the events at Petrol Hedonism or driving my cars, it's about making memories, whether it's creating memories for others when they come to my events as families, or whether it's me with my daughters. I remember a Ford Cortina I bought once, and I didn't own it for very long because we managed to get somebody wanted it as a Part X for something else. But I took Lola, my youngest, to school in it, and before I dropped off, I got to have a photo with it, and I just love the photo of her next to this 1980s Cortina. And it was just one of those cars that I just felt I needed to own. It wasn't special in any way. We made money on it. I think we doubled our money on it, sort of thing. But it was just having that moment of taking her to school in it, and remembering that I took her to school in that Cortina. I think everything is about making memories, and if my girls can look back and in the future see a car and they get that nostalgic throwback, so, oh, Dad had one of those, or I remember when Dad took me to school in that, or Dad really embarrassed me in that, because we do embarrass our daughters a lot. As they get older, you'll find out even more. It just gives them all those experiences and memories. Is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So look, that's like a killer question for me. Is, of your 4 daughters, how many of them would you say is interested and, dare I say it, even sort of potentially on their way to becoming a car enthusiast, a petrol head? How many out of the 4 at the moment would you say?
I'd say 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4, but daughter number 2, Bessie, is currently learning to drive, and her further to want to drive, whether it's for the freedom of having your own vehicle and driving, or whether she genuinely loves driving. I don't know which one it is yet, but she was the one that was most disinterested about cars at the moment. Like, I didn't think she'd be really pushing herself to get their driving license, but she's on it. The eldest, Ella, was like my right-hand girl during coming out of the COVID years at the hotel and doing the events and the bigger events and growing petrol head into what it is now. She is definitely a petrol head. She's concentrating on her studies, and she's at uni now, and she's doing really, really well. Really proud of her. I reckon, she's got her sights on like a Porsche Cayman or Boxster or my Cayman.
Amazing.
So it's always an entry level. But she came to collect Viola Ophelia with me when I had the Aventador. She then came to collect the replacement. We did a lot of car events during lockdown when you could go into London and drive about and stuff like that. So Ella, first and foremost, is the petrol head. Tia, daughter number 3, 100%. I've got video of her in a Lamborghini at age of 2 having an adrenaline rush. And amazing. Lola, I think she likes the whole car thing. I think it's more about the car being cool rather than what the car is. But it's cool they've got that in them. I think if we can instill some passion into them about cars, that's the little flame that ignites it for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like maybe it's stereotypical. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I just think statistically, you're more likely. Well, you just see at car events, tends to be more guys, doesn't it? So that's just something for me. Obviously, got four daughters.
It's always going to be. I think if you look at your following on my Instagram following, I think I've got 12% female following.
Okay,
it's a more car thing for men sort of thing, but a lot of females are into it, and I love meeting my friends' daughters that are into cars, and Steve's daughter Grace Auto, she's just started up with some real good social media bits on TikTok and stuff, and she's got like 3 cars. Her dad's into cars, they've got cars, she's got 3 cars, and like it's just awesome, you know. Yeah. So I love it when girls get into cars, and I've got a lot of friends and followers and people that come to my shows that are females that are into cars. Yes. And I love that because I've got 4 daughters and I know what it means to me. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think that's a big thing for me. I would love when they become adults and they start driving cars, buying cars. It'd be lovely to have a friend there that I can actually just geek out about cars and talk about cars, go to events with and stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed. I always say, I hope at least a couple of them become car enthusiasts. So this is your local then, is it?
This is my local pub, yeah. This is where we come to drink a lot.
Do they know you on first-name basis in here?
These guys at Soul Drop Shell have been, because the hotel's just down the road from me, the Sharnbrook Hotel, so they would always get all the spills of the cars coming to the car shows and filling up before or after and stuff.
Just my challenge filling up. Let me tell you why the Murcielargo, for me personally, is such a special car. On my wedding day, I got married, 11 years ago? On the morning of my wedding, a friend of mine called me up, and who I knew was bringing his Murcielago for pictures at my wedding reception. It was going to be there, but he called me on the morning of and said, "Ben, would you like to turn up to your wedding reception in the Murcielago with your new wife?" And honestly, talk about making memories. You know, that to me made the day so incredibly special and really sort of knocked down the walls in my brain of, you know, what can I do in life which is going to get me to somewhere, and work really, really hard so that one day maybe I might be able to own something like this. So the Murcielago to me is an extremely important and inspirational car.
You've got to be your car camera.
Is that what someone said?
I was like, yeah, I'm interviewing a celebrity.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. As in, I'm interviewing a celebrity.
Yeah, no. I was going to say it's more like the other way around. I mean, you are the automotive events king, aren't you? I would say.
I am just doing what I do, and I love it, and I'm passionate about it, and it's just getting me doing what we're doing, and I don't know where it's going, and it just keeps building. So I just want to keep doing it. I love it. I love all the people we work with. Like, it's a selfless group of friends that ultimately all love doing what they're doing as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good space to be in at the moment. And just the network keeps growing bigger and bigger. And we met this summer as well.
Yeah.
And just see where it goes. We've got Underground coming up next at Wembley. And I know you want to get more involved with DadCars and stuff. And for me, you have that space and do what you want to do.
Yeah, honestly,
to have you there.
I am so excited about that because I mean, at Nebworth recently we had Petrohedonism there, and it was incredible. What an amazing event! But shout out to all of the parents out there who attended Nebworth and brought their families, brought their young children. You know, it was amazing. I was smiling ear to ear just seeing all these people with babies and young children.
It's a family-friendly event. I'm dad of 4 daughters, and I just want to bring people out as families, and they are family-friendly events. Some have got live action, some are purely static. It's about people that own the cars and in the scene, and it's a multifaceted event in that it will appeal to so many different people for different reasons. So whether you just like retro and classic cars, but then you do like your supercars, but when you get a family come together at a show, the son, the 8-year-old, 9-year-old will be into the supercars. But the dad will be like, oh my god, my dad used to have one of those 1950s cars. You know, it could be anything. Like it's a nostalgic trip when you go to a varied and mixed car show for sure. I always remember one example is Nick Cartwright works with Mark McCann, good friends of ours, and Nick Cartwright came to a Max Power event I hosted, and he was there with his son, but he was there with his dad. And his dad used to take Nick to Max Power 20 years ago. Wow. But he had 3 generations there, all enjoying a new Max Power event that we'd put on.
Yes.
And we'd put Max Power back. So just that moment, having 3 generations together, all enjoying the show for different reasons, is amazing. That's puts a smile on my face ultimately, and that's why I go through the stress of putting the events on and doing what I do. I just love it, and the energy at the shows is amazing.
And I don't think there's ever been a more important time to get the next generation excited and passionate about internal combustion engine cars. I don't think there's ever been a more important time than now. So I really feel like, because look, let's be honest, you know, my children, eldest is 6, the youngest is 1. It could be that if I wasn't a car enthusiast, if I didn't love cars from this generation,
I'm lucky. So let's go through this. Mine are currently 19, 17, 15, 13. I'm in that golden, mythical year where they're all teenagers at the same time. You'll have this to come, I think, if you figured it out.
Yeah.
But yours are, your eldest is 6.
Yes.
Mine's 19. So we're 13 years apart, effectively, of the cycle. In 11 years' time, it will be 2034 that your eldest will learn to drive.
Yes.
All driving instructors' cars by that point, because they have to be a certain age, will be electric.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So that's what I mean. Like, so it could well be that the next generation just drive an electric car when they learn to drive, and then when they come to pass their test,
they will have no idea about flappy paddles.
Yeah, why would I want to, you know, something which is smelly and loud and doesn't make any sense to me?
Yeah.
So
bring your kids to the car shows, let them know what it's about now.
And that's what I'm saying, and that's what my motivation is with the DadCars section at Petrol Hedonism events. I'm going to be doing it at next year's Shed Fest as well. I know Alex is really excited about me doing it there, but it's all going to be free activities that I do on the DadCars section. So colouring in. So I'll have, you know, A4 pieces of paper with this Murcielargo on, with Petrol Hedonism logo up the top, and I'll sneak a little DadCars one in on the bottom left. Look, a big thing that happens on my channel is occasionally I'll get a message from somebody in the comments below, you know what negative people are like, where they'll say, oh, I can't believe you're using, you know, big performance, scary performance car like that with your children. It happens occasionally, I know, it's annoying. But, I mean, have you ever had any, well, look, I know you've had an experience where something sort of a bit scary happened in your previous V12 Lamborghini, the Aventador, and I thought you had your wife with you in the car, but it wasn't, was it?
No, it's door number 3, Tia.
Tell us about that.
I got back from a car show. I've been out all day that day at a car show. The Lamborghini Aventador Roadster, I've been out in the sun all day at this car show. It was one of the hottest days of 2022, but these cars run in Dubai and everything in hot climates anyway. On the way home, I filled her up with petrol, and I always filled up where I got to the click, and then I'll round it up to the nearest £5 or £10. And that day, £88.50, I click to £90. I had no idea that I had put my car at risk of fire. I had no idea. I know now, because it's a year and a half on, I know what I did wrong. But I'd done that for 10,000 miles in a year in that car. Never had an issue. But that day, the hottest day of the year, and the fact I'd filled it up to the brim, went home on the driveway, switched the car off, went inside, changed, pulled my stuff away from the event we'd done, and I said to Tia and Lola, because they like to go out for the car, roof off, go get a Starbucks. Coffees and cream frappuccino, no coffee, with sprinkles and cream. They love that. So I said, come on in, Tia, let's go. So we drove there, took a little cruise down, got to Starbucks. Somebody at Starbucks spotted me, came and said hello, comes to my car shows, had a chat with him. He took a photo of the car, not knowing that was going to be the last photo of the car I'd ever have.
Wow, yeah.
That on the way back, 30 miles an hour at the roundabout near my house, I smell and I see smoke behind me. Got the roof off so I could smell it, I could see it, and I was like, oh, Tia, don't panic. I went into like this real kind of crisis situation, but I couldn't believe how calm I was.
Yeah.
I said to Tia, right, Dad's going to go through red lights. I don't want you to worry, I'm going to do it safely, but the car potentially is on fire. I I need to get it to a safe place. I knew exactly where I was going. Everything was clear. Everything slowed down in time as well. I went into crisis kind of management mode, which I don't do very regularly. I thought I'd be panicking.
Yeah.
I was like, I want you to move your seat forward, which then meant I could get behind her front seat as we pulled up and pulled the boot lid. And I want you to go into the glove box and get me my fire safety stick. So it's the equivalent of the fire extinguisher we have in here.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she moved her seat forward. She stayed calm. I stayed calm. And I said, right, as soon as I pull over, I want you to get out and run. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
So my main thing was making sure she was safe. I didn't realise the extent of the fire at that point, how far the car had already gone up in smoke. And the fire safety stick didn't stand a chance. It was a fuel fire. The EVAP system had failed. Basically, by filling it up and overfilling your tank on a Lamborghini, you put it at risk of fire because in that heat and the expansion, the fuel vapours had escaped. The fuel vapours had ignited.
Wow. Okay.
So the fire safety stick had no chance whatsoever, and the car went up in flames. I filmed it. I filmed it because I thought I need to manage the narrative on this when it goes out, rather than people driving past and putting up a video of it catching fire. I thought if I put it up and I'm the source, then I manage the narrative of how it happened, when it happened, but also roll forward 6 weeks, the insurance company are thanking me for filming it because they could see the source of the fire. But my main thing was making sure my daughter was safe. She was running. I've tried to save. I've called the fire brigade. I turn around. She's still running towards the village. I'm like, you stop running now. You're safe.
Oh, bless
her. But as soon as I got another event door, once I got the payout, I got another event door. She came out in the car with me, and we still joke like we've been out in this to Starbucks and stuff. Like we still joke about the fact that at least this one won't catch fire, and I'm like, don't glitch it, or like don't, you know. So I think the worst thing was, you know, my wife was like, I can't believe you took our daughter out in the car and like it caught fire. Like I've always said that it's risky. There's a risk to everything. You could get hit by an oncoming car in a normal car. There's a risk to anything you do in life. I don't drive my cars fast when my daughter's in the car. Sometimes I have done, and they're aware of what I'm doing, and they're like saying, "Dad, go faster," sort of thing. But you know, ultimately, my thing is, and I trust you. If you were to drive this car, I would trust you because you've got 4 daughters. You've got everything to live for in life, and so have I. So for me, I'm a bit wary of like 20-year-olds that have got no kids, sort of thing. You know, if you've had kids, like what those kids mean to you and how important they are to you, and like you've got a life, you've got you know, provide for them and everything else. They rely on you.
Absolutely. It's something that I always sort of say. I mean, I've stopped replying to those comments now because I don't think there's anything you can say to make a really grumpy negative person change their mind. But I always say that a Tesla's faster than this car that you're moaning about at the moment. And also,
I can't believe people can go from a normal car to a Tesla, because you'd say, oh, you just drive a supercar, you haven't had any kind of performance driving instruction or anything like that. But you get people in the Tesla have no idea how to handle that power. And it's far scarier power than a lot of supercars. And
at least with this as well, it's in a bright colour, no one can miss this, they can hear it coming, so I always think it's actually more safe. And also, mind you, like electric cars, they never go up in flames, though, do they? So I
absolutely
guess
not. No.
I guess.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I've got 4 teenage daughters. Yours are all under the age of 6.
Yes.
You've got a world of pain to come. It's an amazing, amazing journey. But how are you feeling about boyfriends?
Okay, right. So whenever somebody says to me, "Oh, just you wait, mate. Just you wait," every time I just roll my eyes. I'm like, "No, look, I'm having a good time. Don't try and put it down on it." But you are extremely qualified. So having a conversation with you is, I feel like it's definitely worthwhile. How do I feel about boyfriends? Honestly, every time I start thinking about stuff like that, start thinking about the teenage years, start thinking about, you know, I don't know, all of that sort of thing. I don't like thinking about it, so I just don't. Then it just focus.
My wife has had to coach me through it because I come from Italian heritage, Italian culture, and like things have moved on in Italy, but I was brought up here, so I'm in a kind of limbo with my cultural kind of roots, and it's just been difficult to think of like. But then my wife was, but hold on a minute, we met when I was 17 and you were 18. you'd come around my house and you spend time around my house with me, and I'm like, right, okay, so that means I have to open up my doors to boyfriend. But we created a home, and we wanted a home, not a house, so that our daughters can bring their friends round to our house, and we know who they're hanging with, and like, same with boyfriends. So
that's something that I've always said to my wife. I want to eventually have a really cool house and just be doing lots of really cool things all the time, like with us, that they want to sort of more create like a hub where we are, because that would just make me feel better. I'll still let them do, you know, like they can do like fun things and stuff like that, but so it is obviously something that I'm sort of thinking. How old are you when you met your
So I was 18 and my wife was 17. So we're at school still, last year of school. Got through uni, we're at different unis, and like it just the relationship went and evolved, and we are where we are now. It's 20 years marriage, and been together 28 years, I think, this December. It's crazy. But 4 daughters, 2 female dogs, house, mortgage, cars.
You got 2 female dogs?
2 female dogs.
See, I bought a male dog.
You wanted that solidarity.
But
so hold on a minute, you want a male dog. So when your daughters were being born, like, were you after a boy? Were you like, oh, we're going to get for another boy? Because I bet you get what I get.
This is another thing, it's actually really annoying, but I don't let it show that it's annoying, because then people will think that I'm annoyed about the fact that I haven't got boys.
Triggered right now.
Because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the question I always get asked is, 4 daughters, did you keep going until you were trying to get a boy? Were you hoping for a boy? Oh, were you disappointed you didn't get a boy? Look, the fact is I am from a family of 4 children. My wife is from a family of 4 children, and we both met each other. I met her on her 18th birthday when I was still 17, which is, it's quite funny that you met your wife around the same age as well. But we always said we wanted 4 children. I mean, I must admit, I did think I was going to have 2 of each, like before starting, just because I was 2 of each from my family and 2 of each from my wife's family. But I mean, even if there was any sort of in the back of my mind, like, it would be nice at least one of them's a boy. When our 3rd daughter was premature and was in hospital in an incubator for a month when she was first born, any shred of that kind of in my head, it really doesn't matter, does it?
So from my point of view, we never set out with a goal or a thought. Like, we had boys' names, we had girls' names. We knew we wanted 2 or 4. We ultimately always said 4, but when we got to having 2 daughters, we were like, do we just share our love between these 2 50-50, or do we go for the 4? But 4 will mean bigger house, bigger car, bigger, there'll be logistical things about having 4 daughters. 4 kids. We made the decision to go for it. So when number 3 came along, we knew we were always going to go for number 4, but we never had the scans done. We never knew what was coming. It was always a surprise when my wife gave birth as to what we were having when they came. And it just got funnier every time, because I had met 2 or 3 men. The first wedding I ever booked at the Sharnbrook Hotel when we were building it, and it didn't have any doors or anything, it was still being built. I met Frank and his daughter, and I booked their wedding, I booked his daughter's wedding into the hotel, and Frank had 4 daughters, and we just had a bit of a laugh. I had 2 daughters at the time. Bessie had just literally been born, and I just felt, I don't know why, that was kind of an omen. I always kept in touch with Frank, and they used to visit the hotel and stuff all the time. And then daughter number 3 arrived, and I was like, no way. And then the 4th one was born, and it was like a 4th daughter. It was like, I just literally stood there. You know when you're so happy that moment they're born?
Yeah.
It was like, I was laughing out loud, because it was hilarious that I had 4 daughters.
Yeah.
I just thought it was brilliant. I haven't had to stand out in the rain and watch boys play football or rugby. Some of my mates that have got boys have that kind of experience. I haven't had to have that and do that. We've done other stuff, but I've got to give it to my wife. She has literally brought up the girls. We spent from the age of 30, we had the hotel, and I've spent 30 to 40 working 80 hours a week, doing everything possible to give us a foundation as a family and be able to give the girls the lifestyle. At the same time, my wife has kept them really grounded, and they know what they will work for money. We don't give them money. I know that a lot of their friends are given like stuff, and like, our daughters feel like not poor, but they're like, why does my friend get given this but you don't just give us this? And I think it's I'm kind of more inclined sometimes, like give them a tenner or something if they're going shopping, but my wife's
Yeah.
like, no, we've got to earn that. And she's really kept them grounded, and it's really important, especially with the cars and stuff we've got around us, sort of thing, and the people we have around us. And you know, I look up to people that've got 10 Lamborghinis and stuff like that, and I think, wow, he's minted, sort of thing. But it's just like, it's all relative.
It's all relative.
Money's all relative, and ultimately staying grounded is so important. But I think we both have a lot to thank our wives for, because they ultimately give us a chance to go out, mess about in nice cars, do what we do, like filming. I get to travel at the moment. The last 2 years, I've got so many stamps on my passport for travelling to America, Japan, Europe, doing car stuff. But I'm building a brand, building a business, and my wife has encouraged that, because ultimately she knows it's putting a big smile on my face.
Yeah, she's supporting you when you're following your passions and you're doing something that you feel like you need to do. Yeah, honestly, I need to say a massive thank you to my wife as well. It's ridiculous what she goes through, and supporting me with my crazy ideas and things. You know, because I mean, starting a YouTube channel when I just had our fourth baby born, it was literally like, I think, a couple of months after the fourth baby was born. So no, that's a huge part of it, isn't it? And being a team, because raising 4 daughters is pretty tough. Do you think raising and dealing with 4 daughters, the chaotic nature of it, do you think that is why you're so good at organising events with loads of people? Because having four young children in the house, for me, it can feel like I've got...
I can't take any. I can't take any credit for bringing up my 4 daughters at all, really, because I was just so busy with work. I think I've always had that nature to kind of lead in a way that there was a big group of us as friends when I was like in my late teens, and we'd go out and I'd say, right, I'll book the restaurant, I'll do this, and then before that we'll go bowling and I'll book that.
Okay.
And I just because I was always if you leave it to everyone, nobody will do it. So I was kind of like always put myself out there to do it. And then when we built and owned a hotel, I was organising weddings, functions, conferences, car shows at the hotel, and I've just always been good at organising, having a vision of where it will go. And funnily enough, like at the hotel, I used to see the car show beforehand, knowing what cars will come in. I see it in photos, and then I'd recreate those photos when the cars were. I'd put them in the positions that I'd envisioned it. So I've been able to visualise how things work. And like, you turn up somewhere like Nebworth when it's empty on a Thursday, but I line the middle of the stage up with the middle of Shmi's tent, with the middle of the Wall of Death, with the middle of the bike battle. So there's a centre symmetrical point through the event.
Yeah.
And I've done that in my head beforehand, and I've done it on site, and I'm like, oh my God, this is nuts. So yeah, I've got something in me that can visualise and see things, and sometimes I don't get it right, but you learn from that. And like year 1, 2 and 3 of Nebworth has been a constant evolution. Next year is going to be phenomenal already. I can see it. I know what we've got coming and what we're doing. But that hasn't come from raising 4 daughters. That's my wife, and like whether she watches this or not, like she knows that's down to her. I've been there in the background, but also at the forefront of bringing up the girls as an influence, in terms of they see the work ethic. We built a house when the youngest was born, and the elder 3 will remember the house build and stuff like that. And it's just been experiences in their life, and we get to the holidays and, you know, going places, the road trips. We used to holiday in the south of France because we jump in the Grand Voyager and we drive all the way there.
Yeah.
And if you ask my wife, she did most of the driving, because I'd have been working non-stop until the moment we literally jumped in the car and went, sort of thing. So it's been amazing having 4 daughters, and some of the people I've met along the way, and like yourself, keep meeting people that've got 4 daughters, and we're a special breed. We're a very special breed.
Yeah.
And the nuggets of insight people give me, I'm like looking forward to, because you'll always be looked after when you're older.
Yeah, no, that's true, isn't it, as well? And statistically, it's much more likely that this is anecdotal from just me and people around me, but it's more likely that a son will sort of move away from the family and go to where like the wife's family is, and but the mum, the wives, they tend to want to stay near their support network and stuff. Again, it's just anecdotally, but I love the idea of that. You know, if I had like my 4 children and they all just went to Australia, America, and all this stuff, and then I didn't get to see them because. So I love the idea of that, you know, and having like the grandkids around and stuff. And it must be a very niche group of like petrol heads, proper car enthusiasts, who've got 4 daughters. Like, it can't be many of us, right?
No,
So-
no. I don't know anybody else who's a petrol head who's 4 daughters. The other guys I've met aren't petrol heads, so
Yeah.
it was like amazing when you said, I was like, really? You got 4 daughters? And when you said they were all under the age of 6, I thought, wow. I wasn't going to say you're going to lose your hair, but it's going to go grey.
it's already gone. Yeah, maybe we should, me and you right now should be the founding members of the 4-daughter DadCars. 4-daughter DadCars Club. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything, but maybe
so
I should make up
those guys that are feeling the pain with 3 daughters are going to feel left out.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe it's the daughter-only dad's car club.
Daughter-only DadCars Club. And then what I'll do is I'll make up some like stickers. Again, look, this would be absolutely free. I'm not going to be selling them. But yeah, if you're watching this and you've got daughters only and you're a massive car enthusiast and you attend a petrol hedonism event in 2024, come and see the DadCars section and I'll give you a free sticker. Maybe I'll do like a window sticker or something like that. But me and you are the founding members,
just
right?
do a daughters rule. There you go. Hashtag daughters rule.
Okay.
Yeah, daughters rule. And then anybody like got daughters only or whatever, come and grab a sticker from Ben.
And they get it for free.
I think if they've got 2, 3, 4, wow, if you're 5 daughters, you are special. But yeah, like whatever you got, and like you're outnumbered with daughters. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, do I hold the record for like the smallest sort of reach person to ever be on a petrol hedonism poster? Because you put me on the poster, didn't you? You put DadCars on the poster. I mean, at the time, I hadn't even been doing it a year. I was just about to hit 10,000 subs on YouTube. And you put me on the poster. And honestly, I can't explain to you how much that meant to me. Just that you...
I'm pleased it meant so much to you.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased I could give you that. I don't look at the numbers. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at the numbers. I just felt that you're part of our growing group of content creators, familiar faces. You've got your own niche. And sometimes, like, for instance, Colin isn't a car guy, as in that he doesn't do just car content, but he is... Yeah. He loves cars and he does do... I love his channel, so...
Yeah, shout out to the Bearded Explorer.
Yeah, Colin, the Bearded Explorer.
Yeah.
I don't look at... I can't say it's because of the numbers. I just felt that you're part of our group with JM and Colin, yourself, Scott, Ratarossa. We've got a real lovely network group of friends. And I think first and foremost, behind the scenes, what some of the comments come out with on socials where people are a bit negative, you just ignore it. But they kind of think it's about clout, and it's not. I think the cross-pollination across our channels just helps each other out, and ultimately you're going to come along to our events next year. You're going to add content to the event, and for me, that's invaluable.
Yeah. Well, but you look, honestly, but when you did this, it's like when other people have supported me as well, like JM and Auto Alex, and they. What I will make you proud for, seeing, promising me early on and putting me on that poster. Like it inspires me. You put me on there. Everyone being so lovely in this community. I'm going to give it my all with the free activities in the DadCars section. So really making a nice family hub at petrol hedonism.
Cool,
and honestly, look, but I just thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
And this has been
the Murcie's
incredible.
one of your favourite cars in the world.
Absolutely is. Yeah, I told the camera whilst you were filling up.
Okay.
But in the unlikely event that you don't already follow petrol hedonism on the various socials and stuff, you've got your YouTube channel. I'll flash a link up to that now. Instagram, Facebook, everything basically. You're everywhere, aren't you? So please go and follow petrol hedonism. And look, if anyone watching this, knows of somebody who is a petrol head and has got children, I just want to encourage them to keep coming to events, making memories with their children. That's what this channel's all about. So please share this video with anybody else who is a car enthusiast and, is soon to be or is already a parent.
Do you want to know what I've been living with for the last 15 minutes?
What?
We've got a limp this time, we've got no brakes. Literally, I've got no brakes.
What,
I've got no brakes. Pedals going all the way to the bottom.
Oh,
I don't think you noticed my driving, but I wasn't flooring it. And
well,
stuff,
at one point I thought,
where's the brake? I made a phone call before we started filming to Raj at Supercar Service. I was like, I don't feel like I've got any brakes. And he said, pump the pedal when it's off. I was like, oh yeah, it's back. And then as we went down the road, the pedal it's going all the way to the bottom again. I'm like, what? And I'm like, now it's gone hard again. But as soon as you start driving, it's coming and going. So there's either a massive airlock on it or there's something seriously wrong. So we'll limp it home after getting a Starbucks.
God, well, on that note, I think, yeah, that's how we've got to end this. But thank you so much, Ciro.